So if you're looking for a floodlight camera that has RTSP straight out of the box and isn't just stuck in the cloud like some of those other cameras, especially one we've been waiting to review as they promised RTSP but still haven't delivered. So yeah, I went into this review thinking, I'm just going to put this somewhere and probably not even use it a whole lot, but I was pleasantly surprised by it, and it did turn out to be a pretty decent camera, and it is not for everybody, given that if you can run an Ethernet cable and set up your own cameras and have electrical and run all your floodlights, etc. But this goes in a spot that already has electricity, and really just take down whatever light was there, floodlight, etc., put it up, boom, and you're done, and now you have a camera and including remote control floodlights, and it does have two-way audio as well.
Dad, they hear me.
Hang on, hey bud.
Hey, dude.
So this thing's really almost too big to fit on the desk, just for size relation. And this isn't the whole thing. You actually have the camera and the motion sensor as well. And just for size relation, here's your typical light bulb. It does pretty much cover almost one of the floods, and it's about the size of here. It is for AC power for 100 to 240 volts, and they do recommend having 40 watts. For wiring, you're just going to have your neutral, your hot, and your ground. This does not have any type of Ethernet because this is really meant for the crowd that is just going to be swapping out a motion light and doesn't have the ability to run a power over Ethernet camera to that area, and just want to make it real simple with a Wi-Fi camera built in with motion all in one. Plus you do have RTSP and the local storage options. And we'll take a look at the head itself. This just twists off. There's a little thing for a screwdriver. So we'll twist this off. And it does feel, it looks like it's got a weather seal on it. And get it close here, there is the reset WPS button here, as well as the MicroSD card slot for local storage. So other stuff in the box, yeah, we're not going to read any of this. Again, we aren't the RTFM channel, and they do give this big heavy duty disc. You do get the mounting hardware, wire nuts, some brackets probably to hang it when you're wiring it, pretty cool, and some heavy duty screws, for this thing is a little bit of weight. Plus they do give you screws with sheetrock connectors, which you probably shouldn't need because this should go in a electrical box. Let's go see if we can get this beast installed. Now for the specs, I'm not going to go down the list. Just pause it and check them out and look at it. There's a couple things I did want to mention. It does say 40 watts for power consumption. We did put it on the kilowatt meter, and without the lights on, we were pulling around 4 to 5 watts. And with the lights on, it was pulling around 26 to 27 watts. So definitely below that 40 watt power consumption, which it should work in any location, because a lot of typical locations where you had floodlights were probably trying to support anywhere for 100, 200 watts, etc. So this definitely is far less in wattage since we aren't using that incandescent thing anymore. Now, one thing to note on here, I had it in a location where I don't particularly have good Wi-Fi because there's several walls, including a metal door that is in between the access point and this location. I've had a couple things out there before, like say a Novastella floodlight, and just the Wi-Fi was okay. So we had around 60 to 70% signal, and we were getting well over 100 megabit handshakes, which is more than enough for the H.265 stream from this camera. If you don't know what H.265, it's basically a better compression over your H.264. So make it higher frame rates, etc., especially when you're viewing this over a cellular data connection. Now for the installation, well, we can't go through everything and show you everything because of all the hotshot lawyers out there, but with the included instructions, it mounts up like any other typical floodlight. You have your box where your floodlight attaches. There's a little plate which attaches with the screws, and there's one big screw that keeps the floodlight attached to that plate. Pretty simple to do. Maybe call a friend that is familiar with it, or if you really have to, call an electrician. It's pretty simple to do. So first thing you'll notice, well, we've showed this app before. It's the same Amcrest app that we put the doorbell cameras in. So pretty cool that it all goes straight into there. And it is pretty simple. Once you get the camera and you get power to it, you simply just hit the plus, and then you'll just scan the QR code on the side. You go through, put in your Wi-Fi password. It's pretty simple, step by step, and there it is. And if you have other cameras, you can also do the multi-view, where if you want to view 2, 3 cameras, etc. Now you can listen to this one. You can do snapshots. You can turn on the siren. You can also turn on the lights. That's one of the pretty cool features, I thought. Now, in mine, I do have a little bit of glare right here, and that's due to a gutter that comes down. Probably not the best spot where we have this installed, and that's causing that glare on that lens. But as you can see, the light is pretty bright, and it definitely turns it into day mode whenever it turns on the lights. Now, of course, you can record straight into the app, and it records straight to your phone. You can talk to it. Now, for the talking, we did have a couple of issues, and we had some feedback, and we don't have that feedback on the doorbell camera. So maybe there's having to be some sort of software update that will help with the echo or feedback that we're getting with the talking back and forth. Now, compared to the doorbell camera, there is a number of different features on here. Now, some of the motion detection is about the same. Now, there is under the motion sensitivity. And this one, I did open a ticket with them because I did have some issues that with, and it may be because it's in a bad spot where I have headlights cut across the view of the camera. It was giving me some false positives. Now you can come in and just like before, you can set the regions of just where you want the motion detection. Now you can also turn on the siren, you can set up the schedule, etc. Now, one additional setting is the floodlight setting. You can put it on the mode, you can do motion activated, you can do schedule, which is cool. You can do the light duration of how long you want it to come on. That's pretty neat feature, especially getting this out of a camera too. Share the device, typical thing, Wi-Fi settings. And now one thing I saw that was different is the video settings. You can come in and set the quality for what they consider SD and HD, the bit rate, the frame rate, the resolution, and it is 30 frames per second. So you're gonna get that pretty smooth video. And you can come in and adjust all the brightness and saturation and contrast. Now, I did not see the WDR like they added to the doorbell cameras recently, and that's the wide dynamic range, which helps bring out some of the dark areas, especially when you have a lot of shadows. And for the recordings, yep, just like before, you can come in and you can just pick the date that you want for the recording, and you can go ahead and change it and just slide it around, and it'll show you the video that you have that's stored on the MicroSD card, or probably the same thing on the cloud storage. So pretty simple stuff. Didn't have to punch holes in the firewall, deal with your router or whatever. It just pops in, boom, you're done. Straight in the app. Pretty cool app. And it also gives you all those notifications and everything straight there on your home screen. Right there, it's done. So all in all, not too bad. Had a couple little minor issues, but maybe those can be corrected with some software updates, as this camera just came out. I really do appreciate that they did include RTSP on this thing. There's pretty much, I haven't seen any other floodlight cameras, and we were actually talking on Discord that we wanted a floodlight camera that was ready to go, put it in, boom, done, because they couldn't run a Ethernet cable to that location, so they wanted a all-in-one solution for that. But didn't have RTSP. Well, this one does. Now, for the HomeAssistant users, I was able to bring it in using the Amcrest integration, and it does show the sensor of being online, and it does show the motion detected. Now, is that just based off of the camera one like we found with the doorbell? Maybe, probably so. Now, I did find that if it's an H.265 mode, that the stream wouldn't load for me. So definitely follow if you want to use the streaming on it, and maybe just Home Assistant in this integration doesn't support H.265, but as soon as I changed it to H.264, it started streaming right into Home Assistant without any issue. Now for BlueIris, no problem at all. Put in the IP address, put in the device ID and password, and it's not your account password. It's the device password you set up when you first add it to your network. And it popped right into BlueIris. Boom. There was no issues. It came up. Even the sound worked just fine. So, well, we'll leave a few little clips at the end of the video. If you want to check out some different little clips and things, definitely hang out. And I do appreciate all the Patreon subscribers. Helps out with the channel each week on all the different videos and things and madness we do. Thanks again, and well, y'all take care.
Dad, do you hear me? Dad, do you hear me? Do you hear me louder?